Hi, this is your SOS video about solving and graphing a solution set of an inequality that has a negative coefficient. So remember, coefficient means a sign and numeral in front of a variable. And to solve an inequality, it's helpful to have the variable on the left side of the inequality symbol. So if you have to move it from the right, move it from the right, the symbol will flip. And we'll practice doing that. Then you want to isolate the variable using the same steps when you isolate a variable in an equation. So we're going to do reverse PEMDAS. And finally, if you divide or multiply by a negative, the symbol will flip. So let's check this out. We have negative 3x is less than or equal to 12. So instead of multiplying by negative 3, what would be the inverse? That's right, we're going to divide by negative 3. And whatever you do to one side, we do to the other. So any number divided by itself is going to be 1. We have 1x. And we divided by a negative number. So when we do that, the symbol has to flip. So now it's x is greater than or equal to, and 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. So how do we graph that? Well, we have negative 4 in the middle. We're going to have a few numbers to the right of it and a few numbers to the left. X is greater than or equal to, so that's going to be a closed circle, and all the numbers that would be more than that would be shaded to the right. Right, how about this one? 5 minus x is greater than negative 2. My variable is on the left-hand side, so we're good with that. I need to get rid of 5 first, so instead of a positive 5, I'm going to subtract 5. So we have negative x is greater than negative 7. This is really the same as saying a negative 1 times x, and the inverse operation of multiplying by negative 1 is dividing by negative 1. So any number divided by itself is 1. We have x, and since I divided by a negative, I need to flip the symbol. X is less than positive 7. I have 7 here, a few numbers to the right, a few numbers to the left. This is an open circle because this does not have an equal sign, and all the numbers that are less than 7 would be to the left. All right, let's take a look at this. My x, my variable, is on the right-hand side. It's going to be easier for me in graphing if it's on the left. So I'm going to switch places, but when I do, I have to flip this symbol. So negative 4x is less than or equal to 20. And now let's solve for x. So instead of multiplying by negative 4, we're going to divide by negative 4. We'll do that on both sides. Negative 4 divided by itself, negative 4 is 1, so we have x. Since I divided by a negative, this flips again, greater than or equal to negative 5. So I have negative 5. I have a few numbers to the right that are increasing, few numbers to the left that decreases. Greater than or equal to is going to be a closed circle, and all the numbers that are more than negative 5 would be to the right. Okay, it's your turn. Solve for x for number 4, graph that, and then start the video again. See how you did. Okay, how did that go? Remember, we want to isolate x, so first, instead of a positive 7, we subtract 7 on both sides. We get 2x is greater than negative 20. Then I divided by 2. I did not flip the symbol, because even though this is a negative number, I'm not dividing by a negative. I only flip the symbol if I divide or multiply by a negative number. So since I didn't, the symbol stays in the same direction. X is greater than negative 10. So I have negative 10 here, a few numbers to the right and a few numbers to the left. An open circle on negative 10, and I would have all the numbers to the right. Okay, let's take a look at this next one, number 5. So to isolate x, I'm first going to subtract 3 to both sides. I have x over -5 is less than or equal to -2. Instead of multiplying by -5, instead of dividing by -5, I was thinking ahead, I'm going to multiply by -5. And whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other. So any number, -5 over 1, and I have a -5 here, they can cross divide, and I'm left with 1x. I multiplied by a negative number, which means this symbol flips. And -2 times -5 is a positive 10. And let's graph that. A few numbers to the right, a few numbers to the left. A closed circle over 10, because this is greater than or equal to, and these are all the numbers that would be more than 10. Now, what happens when you have variables on both sides? Remember, we like to see the variable on the left-hand side, so let's move this over. Instead of a positive 2x, we're going to subtract 2x. So I have 4x minus 4 is greater than, well, 2x and a negative 2x is a zero pair, greater than 16. Now let's move the numbers, the constants, to the right. I add 4 on both sides, and I have 4x is greater than 20. Instead of multiplying by 4, I'm going to divide by 4. Did you divide by a negative? You did not. So the symbol stays in the same direction. We have x is greater than 5. 5 goes in the middle, and we have a few numbers to the right and the lesser numbers to the left. X is greater than 5. I'm going to have an open circle on the 5, and I'm going to have the arrow pointing to the right. This next one looks more challenging, but really it just is more steps. It's nothing new to you. First thing we want to do is get rid of our parentheses. So we're going to distribute the -2 to everything inside the parentheses. So that's a -2x, and a -2 times a -3 is a positive 6. And then I copy the rest. And remember, I like to have my variables to the left. It makes it easier for me to graph. So let's move this one over. Instead of a positive 3x, we're going to subtract 3x on both sides. -5x plus 6 is less than, well, that's opposite, a zero pair, -4. And then let's move the constants to the right. Instead of a positive 6 and -6. So we now have a -5x is less than -10. Instead of multiplying by -5, I'll do the opposite. I'll divide by -5. Any number divided by itself is 1, so we have x. And do I need to reverse the symbol? You're right, we do, because we divided by a negative number. So x is greater than 2. Put 2 here, few numbers to the right, few numbers to the left. X is greater than 2, open circle over 2, and all the numbers to the right. All right, why don't you pause the video and try this one on your own, and let's see how you do. Okay, remember we distributed first. So we got 9x plus 27 is less than or equal to 7x plus 31. It's easier for me to have the variables to the left-hand side, so I subtracted 7x on both sides. I had 2x plus 27 less than or equal to 31. So I'm going to move the constants to the right. We subtract 27. We get 2x is less than or equal to 4. Divide by 2. Do I reverse the symbol? Since I divided by a positive number, I do not. And its x is less than or equal to 2. So I write a 2, few numbers to the right, few numbers to the left. X is less than or equal to, closed circle on the 2, going to the left. And our final thought, if I divide a negative number by a positive number, should I flip the inequality symbol? So let's think about that. If I divide a negative number, so if I have negative 14x is less than, let me see, 28. And I am going to divide Okay, sorry. Let's have positive 14x is less than negative 28. I'm going to divide both of these by 14, because instead of multiplying by 14, I'll divide by 14. Any number divided by itself is 1. So we have x. Now I have to decide, do I flip the symbol? And I don't, because if I divide by a positive number, the symbol should still be facing the same direction. X is less than negative 2. It didn't matter that the one on top was negative. I'm only looking at what number did I divide by. And since I divided by a positive number, the symbol stays in the same direction. And this is how you solve and graph the solution set of an inequality that has a negative coefficient.